Tommy Robinson? What's your views on him?
So, as I've said many times, I don't know Tommy Robinson, but Tommy Robinson, the political figure, has been targeted by the state. Of that, I have no doubt. Um, Tommy Robinson was again put in prison effectively because of what he said and the stance he took on various issues. And he has been undoubtedly brave in the way that he spoke up. I can't. Perhaps it wasn't. He perhaps he wasn't the only voice who spoke up against the rape gangs, but he was a very voluble, if not sole voice, in identifying this vile activity that was taking place in amongst British people. Again, on the altar, I think, of this false notion of equality, of humanity, and progressive discrimination in favor of ethnic minorities. It was that presumption that gave the cloak that protected these, gang rapers, and he called it out. And the state doesn't like it. The state muzzled him. And last year, even though it wasn't about the rape gangs, it was about it was on as a result of a civil action where he had been injuncted from showing a film about a young Syrian boy who had, I think, been in an altercation with a white boy, a white British boy in a school. Um, that was a civil action in which he breached the injunction. It was not a criminal action, and the Attorney General got involved. The Attorney General, being a political appointment, elevated it effectively to the point where he could be imprisoned, and then directed the courts to imprison him. So he was a political prisoner. Another really good example of how freedom of speech has been shut down on the altar of this ideology.
No, no, absolutely. And he came on the Andrew Horn show straight after he came out. Is a very emotional interview, one of the most emotional interviews he's ever done. His son was filming it, and he talked about the devastating effect that being incarcerated had upon him. But a lot of people in the media are now, even the mention of his name makes them shudder, even though he was one who shone a spotlight on the appalling situations about the rape gang. Do you think the media's reaction to Tommy is going to change?
I think it's already changing. I think the media reaction to voices such as mine and others who believe in this country, proud of this country, etc., I think it's already changing, but it needs to change a hell of a lot more. And one thing needs to be absolutely understood by people in frontline politics is that we mustn't be throwing people under a bus just because we don't like them. We mustn't be targeting them using lawfare in order to shut them up in the way, for example, that Rupert Lowe was targeted, in the way that certain people in reform will denounce Tommy Robinson for no good reason. It doesn't matter whether you like the man or not. This isn't about him, the man. This is about him, the political figure. This is
Yes.
about what he stands for. And if you dislike him as a man, of course, that's your prerogative. He uses colorful language. He has a colorful history. Some people will regard his language as divisive. It might offend their sensibilities. It probably does. All of that is irrelevant. You have to look at the individual issues at stake, the salient issues being raised, and judge the political impact by those, not by whether you like the man or not. And frankly, some people like Farage should grow up. They need to be braver and stand firm on matters of principle.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And you've also made it clear that Tommy would be welcome as a member of the party. In fact,